apologised. He looked at the photograph and apologised. Yes, I accept there was, an unexpected moment where a journalist colleague presented a phone to him, but he did look at the photograph.
Eventually,
and then,
he had pocketed the phone, the journalist's phone, beforehand. Why could he not just take a look at that photo when it was presented to him and respond as a human being that this is awful, that this is shocking? It has led to claims that he is heartless, he has no empathy, and he doesn't care about anyone else but himself.
Knowing him as I've done, I think that that's a false claim. He's somebody who's entirely capable and shows empathy and that human emotional intelligence, and his contact with people. When I see him talk to members of the public, there is an instant connection there and an understanding about their concerns. And what I saw yesterday was not just an apology, but also the health secretary going to Leeds to talk to the family.
To clean up the mess.
Well, to talk to the family, to talk to the professionals involved, to get a deeper understanding, to apologise, and also to remind everybody that there's important investment going into Leeds Hospital in the next year on children's services, and a new hospital to be built in the next few years.
Responded as we would expect anyone to do when presented with that image, which was, I'm a father and this is dreadful. I don't want to see this, and I'm sorry. He was there as a damage limitation exercise, and then it got worse, didn't it, Robert Buckland? Because then there was a briefing that one of his advisors had been punched, and when you look at the footage, that's just simply not true. It was a lie.
Well, I don't know who said what to who and whether that briefing had happened with the footage having been seen. I saw the footage some hours later. It looks like...
I don't think anyone could say that there was a punch thrown, could they?
It looks like accidental contact. There's clearly some sort of public order incident going on with people shouting and gesticulating. It doesn't seem to me to be the sort of incident that if you were passing by you'd think was normal, especially outside a hospital of all places. Clearly what was going on was unacceptable, and there is a suggestion that it was organised. I don't know whether the briefing, I don't know who said what to who, or whether that footage had been seen.
It was an attempt to deflect, wasn't it?
I'm not so sure about that. I mean, election campaigns, to organise something as calculated as that in the heat of an election campaign, I think is a pretty difficult exercise. It was a confused scene. We've seen the footage. Whatever it was, it didn't seem to me to fall within the acceptable bounds of free democratic debate.
How concerned are you, though, that this moment with this photograph is going to be one of those moments that shifts the focus of the election campaign? A moment like Theresa May telling a struggling nurse there was no magic money tree so she couldn't have a pay rise, or Gordon Brown and Gillian Duffy, one of those moments that goes down in electoral history.
Well, look, I think the Prime Minister did not say anything inappropriate about what had happened. He apologised.
He didn't say what he needed to say,
But he apologised. He looked at the photograph and apologised.
Eventually.
Well, we're talking about a few moments here in a very long campaign. And also, in this particular instance, we have an agreed plan with the local trust and the NHS England to invest in Leeds Hospital. And there's action that was already being taken
that's all well and good, but
before
we're
this
talking
incident.
about the response of the Prime Minister, the empathy that the Prime Minister has shown. Is there something going on here that Boris Johnson, who was supposed to be authentic, supposed to, as you have described, connect with people that he meets, and yet that hasn't been happening in the way you might have expected on this campaign? Is he being too tightly controlled, that this message discipline is restricting him to the point that he's being robotic? He can't respond like a human being.
Well, I must say,